Okay. Okay, let's go into the next round. Let's have a look on the clock. 4 minutes left. Ronald, you have to put a little bit more down. Is this the right direction?
Just don't be too close to the screen.
Yeah. So in the next round, we have a combination of online pitches and pitches here on site. I would say we are going to start. My colleagues will take care that the other people from outside will join as well. It's no problem for you because it's not the numbers of votes, it's just the average which is important. Okay, so we start with the next session. The next session is about manage and operate in building technologies. This is the area where we have the largest problems, to be honest. We had 300 applications. So 300 applications and select the top 10 out of 300. That's pretty unfair. And if you look on the top tech map, there are many established players already, which are under the top 20. So there is almost no room for a startup to get in. So that's a really bad thing on that. Maybe we have to look how we go on with this category, because having so many applications and manage and operate is, compared to the other categories, it's unfair for the startups because there's too much competition in there. So we tried to select the best out of the 300, and we are starting now with Matt from NBO Systems, and yeah, let's start with the presentation. I go here, and we should have your slides. Okay, you tell us when you're ready, and Tobias will take care of the clock. Okay.
Good. Ready to go?
Let's go.
All right. Hi, everybody. My name is Matt Standish, and I am a founding member of the EVANA team. Commercial buildings, on average, waste around 50% of the energy that's consumed, yet less than 20% can afford the tech to prevent this. As advanced building automation systems are either dumb or prohibitively expensive. As a result, buildings are the leading cause of wasted energy and CO2 emissions. And that's where NIO comes in. We help commercial building owners and operators increase profitability through automating efficiencies using artificial intelligence. There should be audio.
Time is stopped.
It's not stopped.
Make use of the time to get more than 3 minutes.
Yeah, right.
Come on.
Can we start with the first question?
Still no home? No, otherwise, if it's not working, we do not work with the video. So.
Share the YouTube link.
Yeah, if you have the YouTube link, maybe we can go there if it's integrated in the. Yeah, we have to be careful because we tested it with the
Maybe it's only
Hard. A lot smarter. There you go.
do you want to start again, right?
Start again.
Okay, let's see.
Do we start again or do
Yeah, we start again.
Okay, ready? All right, hi again everybody. My name is Matt Standish, member of the founding EVANA team. As we previously said, commercial buildings on average waste 50% of the energy they consume, and yet less than 20% can afford the technology to prevent this. As advanced building automation systems are either dumb or prohibitively expensive. So as a result, commercial buildings are a leading cause of wasted energy and CO2 emissions, and that's where EVANA comes in. We help commercial buildings, owners and operators increase profitability through automating efficiencies using artificial intelligence.
Interesting.
all the volume is
Oh,
good?
A complete suite of building management software and IoT devices that meter, operate, and optimize operations, turning any building into a smart one. So what enables EnVio buildings to be smart? Wireless controllers operating everything from lighting to ventilation to heating and cooling. Connected to hundreds of sensors that collect information around the clock. Using artificial intelligence, EnVio not only learns the most efficient way to utilize energy based on how you interact with your building, but automatically adjusts its performance in real time. This gives you a truly connected, fully autonomous, self-managing building that saves you between 20 and 70% of energy otherwise wasted. And you don't need a new building to make it smart. With plug-and-play connectivity and automated configuration, it can easily and affordably be installed into any existing structure. You can also connect multiple buildings on its web-based platform, creating new efficiencies across your entire company. Who doesn't love saving time, money, and the environment? Discover how EnVio systems make any building into a smart one.
Okay, so our breakthrough technology is one that can turn any building fully autonomous. So EnVio listens and captures the rhythm of an existing building systems by analyzing operations in real time. EnVio then learns and uses this behavior to positively influence tomorrow's performance. And none of this is theoretical. We've been working at this for years now. To date, our clients have reduced energy by an average of 35%. Our existing clients are some of the most sophisticated in their industries, including some of the world's largest construction, insurance, and utility companies. And we're deployed in 7 different countries. Our hardware as a service model allows us to be compatible with 100% of commercial buildings with or without an existing BMS system. Our solution is affordable because we don't need to replace any existing infrastructure. We simply integrate with it and make it more intelligent. system has grown to become a building technology platform to help owners and operators integrate other softwares that they want to work with. And that is essentially us in a nutshell. Thank you.
Yeah, so sorry for the technical problems. So compared to classical old building systems, how do you see yourself?
We can integrate. So if the building does not have a BMS, then we'll simply become a proxy BMS. So we'll get the mechanical drawings, the electrical drawings, the architectural drawings.
But a Mindspace platform would be a competitor to you.
Could be, yeah.
Okay.
But where we differ, that we find that we differ in the industry, is that we're universally compatible across any of the systems or any of the hardware. So we're hardware agnostic.
All right. Do you currently integrate or have access to many of the building management systems now, like Viva?
Yeah, we speak all the protocols where we can do BACnet, Modbus, MBus, Lawnworks, name it.
All right. And they give you access, or you take access?
We have access.
Okay.
Maybe I'm a little bit conflicted, but to answer the question, they rebuilding all the interfaces by looking at the cable, and that is, they have also patented wireless transportation network technology.
All right.
So I cannot say more because I'm sitting so far.
Yeah, we've got proprietary hardware software firmware that we use to bypass and implement our own system.
Can you also control the systems you monitor?
Correct, yeah.
So you're not only monitoring, so you give steering signals as well to the sensors?
Yeah, we will collect the data, establish a baseline, look for anomalies in the building with equipment runtimes. We can do preventive maintenance if need be. We can monitor maintenance schedules for equipment. We can turn things on and off. We can run smart schedules. And yeah, we can control, in short.
So where is the interface between the old world, the Honeywell, Siemens systems? So you don't need them at all? And
So
instead you would build up the complete system, scratch up new without their technology, or is there a place where you need them?
we could do either or, but if there's an existing BMS system in the building, it's a much simpler integration. We just need to implement our gateway, and then we can read the protocol that they're using to communicate, and then from the gateway, we collect all the data on our platform up in the cloud and run analytics, optimizations, makes the building run smarter.
So if I understood correctly, you are able to save up to 70% of energy, cost energy. And how is that 70% composed? Where does it come from?
We have done, I think the high end is kind of an anomaly. We've done actually at 90%, but that was an air conditioning running in a server room, and it was basically just running 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. But on average, it's just turning things on and off when they can be turned off. For example, if you run an HVAC system, I think it's 1 hour less a day, you can knock whatever it is, 10% off of your bill for that month. So there's just pretty simple things with, like, if people leave the room, say it's the scheduling is like 9 a.m. to 6, so if people leave the room at 4, there's no reason to be running the HVAC for that extra 2 hours. You can just simply turn it off. And
but one thing is the system. I'm not sure if it answered your question, but in my understanding, one thing is the system, and the other thing is a really hard consulting part to say, okay, we can turn off the system at 4 o'clock.
Yeah.
So who tells the system to turn off at 4 o'clock?
We're based by occupancy. So you'll have a schedule, like whatever the HVAC schedule is, like 9 to 6 or 9 to 5 or whatever. But we can also base the run times off occupancy.
But that you can with the old system as well.
Yeah, but we can do it automatically, autonomously.
So how much attention does it need from an operator? Is it like a completely autonomous digital operator that runs the optimization, or these things that you're saying that we can turn off, like heating at 6 o'clock? Does it happen automatically, or does somebody still need to do it? Does it need a human?
The answer is it depends. It depends how intricate your installation is. But once you get through implementing an entire system, yes, you won't have to do much manual
Okay.
on and off.
So which,
But we essentially will go, like a new installation, we'll install and we'll establish a baseline, and we'll look for anomalies and identify areas that we can correct. And then we can decide if we want to bring anything else up online by adding controllers. If there's nothing that's on the system, if there's something that's missing control, then we can actually add that control using our hardware. And then everything will be in one place, and then we can do everything from one place online remotely, or you can turn it in a smart mode, which is totally automatic.
and, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, what is the level of saving that you can reach in the smart, sort of, if you turn on the smart system, is it still the 70% or?
Our average is around 30%, 35%.
30% of what? Total
Energy use.
energy bill?
Yeah, energy bill,
Sorry,
Matt,
me again?
if you move over here, so then Jonas can already do the next
Oh, yeah,
pitch
sure.
online. No, you can stay, and we can have one more question from Gerald.
Coming back to the 70%.
yeah.
Sorry to be insistent. The 70%, so where does it come from? Is it energy? Is it heating? Is it lighting? Is it?
That's energy. The 30 or 20 to 70% is energy. It wouldn't be 70% in the overall envelope with like runtime, equipment runtimes, and
But it's by controlling the heating, switching off lights,
Yeah.
switching off cooling.
lighting, HVAC, boilers, chillers, ventilation.
Thanks.
One more question, and then. And the next important thing is that you finalize your vote.
Is this the predictive maintenance impact
Okay.
for the landlord? Is it possible to have any control for specific tenants?
Can you say the last part again, sir?
Is it possible to have ambient control for specific tenants?
For specific tenants? Yeah, you can give different levels of access to the system. So then, is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so let's finalize voting. And Matt, thank you for your pitch.
Cheers.
And in the coffee break, you have to be there. So the next pitch will be online. That means we look that we get in the startup via Zoom call and the pitch as well. So let's see if it's working. Sylvan, can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear
Oh,
me?
perfect. We can hear you and we can see you.
Okay, perfect. So I can start?
Yes, so just go ahead.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Stefan Ziegers. I'm one of the co-founders of Lumobio Building Analytics. Yeah, that's perfect. So most of our lives we spend in buildings, but how much do we actually know about these buildings? I found a figure that kind of shows that very well. In Germany alone, we burn 70 billion euros a year just for heating and cooling in buildings. This is easily reducible by 50% through energy efficient refurbishment. But the problem is, where do you start this energy efficient refurbishment? I actually don't know. So you need clear and objective analysis for that. And this is exactly what we provide. We have developed a portable indoor measurement system, which takes 2 seconds to capture a room and does not need any expert to be on site. In addition, it gives certainty for taking the right decisions. Now, what's behind this is technology that we have developed within the German Aerospace Center during the past years. They've also filed 3 patent applications for this technology. It's basically the combination of panoramic imaging in the visual and in the infrared spectrum, together with distance and humidity and air temperature measurements. And all these data we send to the cloud. There it is fusioned automatically into our report. And such a report could contain the detection of thermal bridges, an early detection of water pipe bursts, or the creation of floor plans. And what you see here to the right is a model of our test room, and we have simulated a water pipe burst, which becomes visible to the left now. The blue spot at the bottom, this is the simulated water pipe burst, so easily detected. We are renting out our system for a fee, and we also collect a pay-per-use fee depending on the level of detail the customer has requested with us. Now, 570 million euros is just the energy efficiency consulting market for buildings in the German-speaking region. And in this market, we have also a lot of competition, such as from Navis, Bosch, or a smartphone app called Magic Blend. But we're the only ones to deliver a rapid and complete analysis, which is also at an economic price. Now, the market entry will be done as such. We are collaborating with companies as BFE and Wincasa from Switzerland, and they are serving other companies, small and medium enterprises that own buildings with their services. So we enhance and empower these companies with our analysis and reports. In the next steps, we're delivering our first pilot projects to our customers. We're negotiating the IP agreement with the German Aerospace Center, and we're preparing for the first investment round this fall. And as an outlook, I want to give you that we want to serve also private customers towards the end of 2020. Now, who's behind this solution? It's Arne, Bernhard, Hendrik, Amadeus, and myself. Arne and I are co-leading LumoView, where Arne focuses on the hardware and software development. I focus on the strategy and finances. Now I'm already at the end of my pitch, and I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you, Silvan. So we are now putting you on the full screen that everyone can see you. So I hope you have washed your face in the morning. So we just saw you that it's still in a pretty early stage, so pilot project. How many revenue is your company doing, or is there already revenue? Or
at the moment, we're not having any paid pilot projects. We're preparing them during the next weeks and months. So I expect to have first revenues at the end of summer.
Okay. Questions from the audience here?
Hi. What is your business model? How do you sell, or would you like to sell your product?
Yes. At the moment, we're approaching our customers directly, so we have no sales representatives. And then we provide our customers with these measurement devices. So we don't sell them, we just rent them to our customers. And the customers then use these devices themselves to capture as many rooms and buildings as they want. And then in the end, we collect the amount of analysis that has been done, and we send out the invoice for this amount.
Maybe I have not understood it, but we saw the colors. The colors is the temperature, or as well humidity, or what else do you measure?
Yes, it's what I have shown you on this 3D model that was turning. That's the infrared temperature that we get from the temperature that we get from the infrared cameras. And this is an overlay on the visual information, just a wall. So this is what we have. We have the wall temperature, then we have the air temperature inside, we have the air humidity inside, and from these parameters we can also calculate the dew point, which then gives us a dew point temperature on the wall. So we can also say, okay, this region is in danger of moist or mold even. So this is also detectable. But mostly it's about temperature anomalies, kind of when the temperature changes due to water in the wall or due to some other effects.
Okay. So, further questions here from the audience? One more question from my side. So, I think to analyze it and to understand it, so is it, who is the person who can work with the equipment? Now you would say everyone, of course, but usually when do you start, and who is the person you start first?
Okay, that's exactly the point. While we were B2B in the beginning, we worked together with experts in these companies that know what they do. So we were learning from them and they are learning from us. So it's a win-win situation in the beginning. And the further we come, the further or the easier and the more lay measurement device it becomes. So we are developing it currently, even kind of ongoing, to make it also usable by private homeowners.
Okay. What do you expect from the community here?
Yes, 2
Either
points.
projects, money, or what is?
Yeah, 2 points. One point is we are open for pilot projects during the summer and early fall. So if one of the present companies has interest to work with us, we're available in, let's say, Germany, Switzerland, France, like this region, even Austria, if there is a company from Austria. That's one point. We're open to this. And we're also, as I said in the pitch, we're preparing an investment round towards fall, which is about 600K. And if there is investors that are willing to participate in that round, we're also very willing to share more information about that.
Okay, so, perfect. Any questions here from the round? Sylvan, so thank you and greetings.
Thank you.
Okay, bye. Okay, so the next one is as well it's online. It's smart plants. Jonas is going to connect us. Okay, so who is doing the backup to EVANA? EVANA, if they are not there?
We do the next one.
Next one?
Can do it with Willisto.
Okay, so let's see if Willisto is there.
So we skip.
Oh, they're here. They're here.
Oh.
Fine.
Oh, hello. Perfect.
Hello, can you hear us?
Yes, excellent.
Yeah, you are very large on the screen, so.
That's good. That's good.
Okay.
Can you give me like sharing screen?
Should be the green button.
Ah, sorry. Thanks.
And if you share my colleague Jonas, yeah, we will see both. So now it's the screen sharing is going to come, and still your video is there. Okay, perfect. Now you make it to full screen, and then we can start.
Yeah, I'm pushing it. So yeah. There we go. So yeah, thank you. I'm Schulz from SmartPlan. We provide the Clever, which is a software robot for energy efficient autonomous buildings. Let's see. What it actually does is connects to the building, being a super brain, optimizing the building in real time. And I'm just gonna get the next one, yeah. And I'll just show you the results first. So this is a warehouse where we optimize the building in the last end. The red curve is temperature curve, the other curves are electricity usage. This building has saved approximately 10,000 euros the last 3 months. And if you compare with the temperature curve outside and so on, this is another shopping center in Oslo where we're saving 10,000 kilowatt hours, approximately 1,000 euros every week on this building. And what actually our clever software robots does, it actually puts the whole building into the optimal energy usage according to the outside temperature. So it's really running everything efficient. The blue curve here is old fixed settings. The red curve is clever working optimal. The only way to move this even further down is to isolate the walls, change all windows, or do some really dramatic steps. So that's the robot. So how do we actually do it? Well, we spent the last couple of years just retrofitting adapters into all types of equipment that's in the existing buildings, so we can connect up to 20-year-old buildings and get them online. We might need some extra sensors to understand the CO2 levels and temperatures and so on to really optimize it. And then we plug in the algorithms that really gives these amazing results. Our customers already is a large international furniture shop on 4 letters. I can't say it because we have an NDA. We have the Oslo Capital Municipal. Just the Oslo Municipal was signed 1 month ago, and that's a possibility of millions on that one. And we got Seabury, which is the largest facility management, and also a lot of smaller customers. We also got chosen as the Smart Hub for a large 22,000 square meter building where we really know everything that's happening inside the building. So we can do cleaning on demand on the toilets, how many are in the queue on the cantina, and so on. We have a lot of added features as a smart building. And our pricing model on it is shared cost savings. So actually the solution pays for itself for the customers, and we share the energy efficiency that we deliver. And you never pay more than you actually save. And the team behind it, it's Schulz, it's CEO of previous start with Telecom, went from 0 to 10 million euros in less than 3 years. John has helped OB to connect their cars to the internet. He helped large utilities across Europe to scale their smart home solutions, and so on. And we got a really good team further on. So that's about 3 minutes.
That's completely on time, perfect.
I can't see you, so I have no idea who I'm presenting for.
It's about 40 people in the room, so and the corporates you know from the contact, from the homepage. So yeah, let's start with the first question. How do you measure the saving? So the point to start and what you have saved.
Yeah, we measure on the total consumption in the building. That has a lot of variables, and we also measure directly on the ventilation system itself, and then we correlate it. So yeah, we do put in some energy meters where we do run it.
Okay, and then you make some assumption and said usually under this condition it must have had this, and now it has this, and that's the difference, and that's where you charge money.
Yeah. I answered short because it's a long answer, but our insight, we make a digital twin of the building. We know how much energy we saved by not moving this air across all the ventilation system, how much energy went into cooling and heating and so on, and we calculate this in real time. So all of this we have in the models I showed you, we calculate those in real time. So yes. But it's been a challenge, but yeah, we solved that one.
Okay, now you started and you said in the first year we saved 30%. What's in the next year?
Come again?
So now we have 1 million energy costs and you saved 30%. We are down at 700,000. What's in the next year?
And then we charge to keep this at that level. And we also, at the same time we're saving energy, we're quality ensuring indoor air quality. So we're putting it on a hospital standard, while we also make sure that whatever happens in the building, you get alerts. Like if the heat exchanger stops working, then you will get alert before you get a massive energy bill the next month.
Okay, you're from Norway, so Bergen Energies is something what is doing that in the same way, or isn't it?
Who?
Bergen Energy, so a large energy consultant company, or it's a stock company, isn't it?
Yeah, they're doing something similar, but actually we're in discussions with them because they don't have that advanced solution. They have one-off and some on-demand and response solutions.
Okay. Questions here from the audience. So It's all the way from the back, just a second.
Hello, my name is Justina. I'm from PrePitch. I just read a little bit more about your company, and you say that you can raise the resale value of the property about 7%. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that, please?
On how we actually save those?
How you increase
The reselling value.
the reselling value?
The reseller value. Our customers are across several channels, but either you get a cut of our subscription costs, or that you're also interested in having this product because it really reduces your operation costs. For a facility management company, you have full insights into the whole building, a digital twin, and that really reduces your caretaker costs, visiting the building, actually running it, optimizing, and so on. Was that answer the question?
Yes. Here's Susan from Strabag. How many projects have you realized, and what is the return of investment?
Our ROI on these buildings, they are typically less than 12 months. We've done about 60 buildings right now. We have, with just one customer, we have a list of about 3,000 buildings, so we have enough to do. If we only take 100 of the largest buildings there in the next 2 years, then we're talking a revenue of approximately 20 million euros.
Besides the outside air temperature as a variable, what other important variables do you use to train your algorithm?
It's, as you know, normally we have a lot of electric cars, so if you have chargers for those, of course, it depends on the usage. But it's really the energy temperature outside and the usage of building. But it's, if you have a building that is hard to estimate, we add just another sensor to control that variable. So that is something that we look at when we do the first initial check of the building. What is needed to estimate it correctly?
Okay. Last question.
What kind of sensors are you using in terms of, so it's off the shelf or your proprietary ones? And what are you doing with the maintenance? How do you do the maintenance if something breaks down?
Vision sensors, air things, disruptive, and also, of course, off the shelf, like, Netatmo and others.
But you are installing them? You install the sensors? Or as a partner?
No, that's, if the partner would like to do it, perfect. We're a technology company.
Okay. So, last question. Thank you, Schulz, for joining us online. Thank you.
I would love to be there, but there would be too much CO2 going on.
That's a good point.
That was a good point. Okay. Thank you. Bye. Okay, good. So a lot of building technology and energy management in that early stage, but you rated it. So it seems to be interesting. So the next one comes from Bilisto. Let's see if they are here. How we are in the schedule?
A little late. 10 seconds, they're here.
Hello, do you hear us?
Hi.
Hello.
Now it's working. Cool.
Yeah, perfect. We see you on the large screen, so we can see if your glasses are cleaned or not.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you for the great opportunity to pitch remote. We are a little bit in a hurry at the moment. We're closing our Series A today, and I'm on a fair in Munich. But yeah, we found a way to pitch remote. That's nice.
As long as you're pitching on Intersolar and maintaining our sponsors network, it's completely fine.
Yeah, actually it's more here in power, but yeah, we'll do my best.
Okay.
Please share your perfect.
You share your screen. Okay, so then let's
All right.
go.
I give you the full modus. Okay.
Yeah,
Can you
it's
see everything?
working perfect.
All right. I cannot see you, but we will make it. So my name is Christian. I'm founder and CSO of the Listo. And before I start my pitch, I would like to ask you a question. Who of you turned down the heating in your office before you came to the PrePitch event in London?
Christian, I'm a bad sample because I'm using Tado already.
You're using Tado.
because you couldn't deliver.
But do you use Tado in the office?
I'm not using it in the office. It's just at home.
Okay, because actually the usual answer we get is that nobody is turning down the heating in the office. And the reason is that we are all free riders. So we use energy in the office, but the cost is borne by the company. So we don't have any incentive to turn down the heating because we don't save personally on the one hand, and on the other hand it would be cold if we get into our office in the morning. And that leads to offices being continuously heated, although they are not being used for up to 80% of the time. And to solve that issue, we need fully automated heating control. So you don't have to change your behavior, and your employer doesn't have any effort to implement those energy savings. And our solution to that is Ovis. Ovis is a fully self-learning radiator thermostat. You don't need any programming, you don't need any app, it just runs plug and play. And it can do that because we rely on two key technologies. The first one is an integrated presence detection. So inside the thermostat, there's a set of sensors which detects the occupancy of people in a room at any point of time. And this data is then handed over to the second key technology, which is artificial intelligence. And the AI learns the behavioral patterns of the people in the room, and it also learns the building and heating characteristics for an optimal heating control. And what comes out in the end is each single room being preheated in the morning before you come into your office, and it automatically saves energy if you don't use the room. To demonstrate the potential savings of our technology, we have done various pilots. One was with our cooperation partner Rheinenergie AG from Cologne, and there we saved 28.6% of heating energy, despite a nocturnal setback of 10 hours, meaning that the heater is off 10 hours a day anyway. In the second project with our customer Baker Hughes, we saved 32.4%, also with a nocturnal setback of 8 hours. But that's not all. We digitize heat management and we help you saving time. Meaning in our dashboard you can visualize temperature curves, humidity curves, the wall position, and also it allows for remote maintenance and for preference setting of setback and well-being temperatures. And yeah, our customers come from each relevant market segment. These are property companies such as Alstria or Volkswagen Real Estate. These are big corporations like Daimler, like Bayersdorf, and also local authorities like the Land of Berlin. And also we partner with energy service companies like Engie or Integra, and facility services like Strabag and Apleona to scale our business. Yeah, that's the list in a nutshell, and now I'm looking forward to your great questions.
Thank you. Okay, who is making the first question? Christian, that's your turn.
Okay. Christian as well. So can you tell us a little bit more about your business model, how you're making money, even revenue?
Yeah. Of course. At the moment, it's a hybrid model of hardware sales and service contract for maintenance. So we sell the hardware and to get our dashboard, to get like remote maintenance services and also the change of the battery. We have a little service model of 49 cents per month per thermostat, but probably we will change that in the future. So we know that property companies are interested in the leasing model to give the cost to the people who are in the buildings, and also we are thinking about a more value-based approach, especially for local authorities, which is called performance contracting. So We are installed in a school building in Berlin. It's absolutely ridiculous. We installed in winter. There were holidays. The heater was on 5, the windows were open. So we expect savings of up to 40% there.
How much is one thermostat?
129 currently.
Okay, pretty expensive.
Actually, yeah, it is. But actually, what is really what should matter more is how long does it need to pay off, and actually, it's 1 to 4 years.
But it's more expensive than the Tado thermostat, isn't it?
Yeah, that's true. But we're nicer than Tado because actually Tado is a nice solution for B2C customers. That's absolutely true. But also it's actually it's a hybrid model of presence detection and programming. If you use it, you know it. If you have a smart thermostat in your rooms, you have to program them somehow. With us, that is not yeah, you don't need that actually. And you cannot use Tado in the office. Imagine a big office building of, let's say, in Frankfurt, yeah. Let's say 30 levels or something like that. It wouldn't work.
Okay. How could a model look like if you go for a large residential company or something, if you go in a broader scale? So because this is not attractive at the moment. So if you go in a larger scale and say, okay, we do 1,000 flats, how could a model look like? Just give it as an indication, because 129 is unacceptable.
Yeah, of course. First of all, we don't go into flats. That could be a potential market for us in the future, but actually the market we are hitting on, meaning schools and office buildings, is a blue ocean currently. So there's a revenue potential of 3 billion euros, which is a lot for a little startup. But probably prices will diminish a little bit. I can give you an idea. It will be probably something around 80, so it would be Tado level, I think.
Okay.
Christian again, what kind of communication infrastructure do you need?
Currently, between the gateways and the thermostat, we have a radio protocol. Currently, it's ZigBee, but for the next season we will have another radio protocol which lowers the number of gateways and allows for longer distances. Yeah, and also the gateway needs network access to incorporate weather data and to bring the data of the thermostat into the dashboard.
So network access means Wi-Fi?
Could be Wi-Fi, could be normal LAN, could be UMTS. Actually, everything is possible. Depends on the customer's preferences, and yeah, if you use UMTS, it's probably a little bit more expensive. Really depends on the customer's preferences. Actually, we have everything in the field right now.
How many thermostats could you put on one gateway, and what is the limit on the distance? So where is the limitation? Because if you look, for example,
the possibility to incorporate 20 thermostats with the new radio protocol, we will lie around 100. And the distance currently in the building is about 30 meters. With the new one, it will be 60 to 80.
Okay, because distance to gateway is, everyone who tried disruptive knows that this was the limitation.
Sorry?
No, it's okay. Okay, so thank you, Christian, for your pitch, and we will tell you how the rating was.
Yeah, thank you very much for the opportunity, and yeah, have a great rest day in London. Bye bye.
Bye bye. See you. Bye. Yeah, just go ahead.
Okay. My name is Martin de Bie. I'm an advisor cross-industry innovation because I'm learning from other industries also. I'm talking today about a platform, Look, which is its biggest goal is to make a self-managing building with a smart ecosystem, and we make little steps where we use technology, blockchain technology, and connect back office solutions. To make our building self-managing, we need to do something, and that is we need a digital identity. And what we've managed is that we in the Netherlands, we've managed with API that we give the building an own identity. Also with blockchain technology, we gave them also a wallet to do business. And when we have a smart ecosystem and if you introduce smart contracts, and I will go more later on that, the building can do predefined processes which will enable, let's say, a maintenance and then do payments. For us, it's important that we have to secure this this ecosystem with also stakeholders. Therefore, this blockchain technology is perfectly because we can manage a lot of things which we discussed also with the stakeholders, so you know exactly what the system is doing and you cannot change it. And the building is part of this ecosystem, which is very important. What we do is that if we have this building, and that's what we're working on, we can, certain processes we do on smart contracts, so if something is broken, the building can set up the smart contract with sensors and activate a supplier, or activate digital working orders. But also do smart automated payments, which we're also busy at the moment. The problem is trust. And that's everything what we do. We have to explain that blockchain technology gives trust because we connect stakeholders on a building. A supplier can he trust the information what he gets from somebody else. Now we have a lot of documents signed, and with blockchain technology we can really introduce with smart contracts this trust more into in the system, and then speed up also a lot of processes and efficient working. At this moment we do it with the blockchain, Ethereum, where we connect the building, we connect Internet of Things, but also we give the stakeholders, also business owners, real-time information which he can trust, because still he wants to trust the information which come from various systems. And we connect with APIs those systems, and also look into gateways to standardize this also, because we don't want to maintain a lot of connections. We think, and we already did a nice project, that we can save 40% on the entire chain, 80% on the building manager and certified parties. I can prove that later on in the questions. If we are looking for new launching customers, but also strong innovative partners, and I've seen there already a lot of them, so I want to contact some of you also, because we want to go to the next level with you.
Okay. So, on which level you are at the moment? So, what is the product which is already running?
Let's say if we have, we were invited by BMW for a contest also, because he saw the potential. What we already have is the blockchain technology. We reuse the technology from the healthcare solution we already have in other business. So it's on a high level, GDPR. Proof, and it works. So we can put documents, don't put documents on the blockchain, we can hash them, safety, and also give the stakeholders, the right stakeholders, access to the information. And every change is registered. And now we are taking to the next level, connecting devices, because that's the next step we need to make. If we want to make this building self-maintainable, etc., then we need this information also. Questions? Yeah.
Now the Dutch connection, you have to be
careful. Yes, inside. So
yeah, I know you for a long time, but what I was wondering, and I didn't see that in the presentation, but what is the actual cost of the intermediaries that you're saving on? Because if nobody has to discuss about SLAs and other things, but a building can manage themselves, what would be the average cost saving on all the intermediate parties?
That's what we are now investigating. That's the way we are doing now with some partners to see, okay, we did this case with Deloitte on the coffee machine. We saw the savings on that with the partners, but we need to find out. That's the way we are now doing the Dutch, why we were complaining about the Dutch, but we are looking at partners, talking with partners, and try out to find out, okay, what's the real goal, what's the benefit for you to be at our platform. Otherwise, it has no add value. And therefore, for us, it's very important, this question, to find out, okay, what do you want to solve? And let's say, blockchain is not the solution for everything. So we are also very clear about that. We only look if it's about trust, if it's about improvement of processes, then we can introduce this.
Just to make it clear, it's not complain about the Dutch connection, it's admiration.
No, but it's an explanation.
Competition.
Yeah.
No, it's good startups, and we are very proud to have good startups in the market.
Yeah, okay.
So Physi, Welsam, that's what's the others? So it's a long story.
Yeah.
Good startups.
And we were happy to know that because it's really, and it's also good to communicate with each other because I learn a lot from you guys because that's new insights to improve the industry.
Further question? I have one.
Yeah.
What should be the case, what you expect from this launching customer? So what would be the case where you said, this is what we would really work on because there we see the highest value?
Well, if you look at, let's say, just a business, let's say a building owner. A building owner sees that he has a lot of communication, a lot of cost. He sees the cost, and he wants to improve that. Let's say the maintenance, the people around that. We want to discuss the processes, because if you know the processes, then you can, let's say, improve them. And that's the discussion we want to do with building owners, so real estate owners. That's for us very important, because that's the add value we can offer at short notice to see, okay, we can improve this process very easily.
But the cost is on documents, so communication, document exchange, validation of documents.
Yeah, correct.
It's not energy cost and it is not
no, that's
maintenance cost.
No,
it's just
correct. And the maintenance cost is that we want to go to predictive maintenance because we need to collect data, but then we also want to find another partner who is that add value. That's the ecosystem we want to build around the building, because we think if you are a business owner and you want to sell the building, you want to give all the information and not a very expensive due diligence and then also prove of documents.
Okay, but you do not have a business case that parking contracts in a commercial building. That's
well, let's say BMW came with this case because they saw because they noticed if we can let's say we have a parking
space.
Sort
out the parking space, contract management, it's
correct.
a pain.
Yeah, for employees and also for in the weekend for other visitors.
Two questions here.
Yes,
John.
question from my side, Martin, maybe to all the audience here. Martin, you said this, you gave the property a digital identity and you save it on the blockchain.
Correct.
So do you think that it is possible to sell the property
by
without
law
a notary? And to all the audience, is this possible and how long would it take?
Well, that's a very good discussion, because if you look at the, in the US they're also with this kind of, in certain states to see if we can sell a building very easily. But by law it's very difficult, because you still need a notary by law in Netherlands. So we can, let's say, what we do now is also collaborating with the notary to see what's possible, and then we have to go to the government to see what we can do also. So it's a long process, but it's there already. In the mind also.
But that's a long perspective, and I think for the industry itself it's important to say who is owning the documents. And at the end, if we have in mind that it's not the asset manager or the owner, at the end the building owns the documents.
Yeah.
That is the first question we have to answer. At the moment we still have the wrong mindset. So if this is the answer, then the next step would be possible. Okay, Olaf, last question.
For me, how easy is it to onboard a customer if you are really going to implement this on a building owner?
It depends on, let's say, that's the discussion you have with the owner. What you have to onboarding is easy, because then you just register the building, but then you need to talk about the processes. What do you want to do? We cannot do it all. We have to say, let's say in the coffee machine it was easy. We have a business case and we see what the problem is. And then you see a lot of creative people in your organization saying, hey, what we can do more with that. So, but in the end, it will be, let's say, an example, smart contracted, but also, let's say, standardizing, which you can copy-paste to other building owners. So it will be a marketplace, maybe. Yeah. Okay.
So, thank you. Let's have a look how the rating is going. How many votes? 21, so still 10 missing, so just hurry up. And we start with next startup. So, Nikolai, the stage is yours. You'll take whatever place you want. Okay.
So, the start, right? So today I'll present you the prepay contracting in escrow tool for real estate reservations. So currently, what's the problem with the reservation process today? So if you are buying or renting a property in a foreign country, at some time you would likely need to make a deposit, also known as earnest money. But what if you don't entirely trust your broker because you see him the second time or the first time, or if you do it through internet, you've never seen them actually. So are you worried about losing your money? I wasn't until a certain point. Then I tried to rent a villa in Italy and lost 2,000. So now I am. Always. So what's the solution? Prepayway is, our mission is to secure and facilitate the earnest money payments as on some domestic markets as well as in international real estate transactions. So how it's done? It's easy. A client and an owner sign a preliminary agreement online in the internet, and each one of them sees the agreement on the language he understands. So then the client basically deposits the money into an online account, and the transaction is written to the blockchain. So both of them share the access. They can read the transaction, but none of them has access to the funds. If the transaction is completed successfully, then it's fine. The seller gets the money, the buyer gets the property. If the transaction fails through, so basically the buyer gets the full refund of his deposit. In case of rent, because it's for purchase and for rent as well, in case of rent, the buyer gets refunded or the renter gets refunded if he couldn't access the property, or for example, if the property that advertised appeared to be different. So you arrive and you have not something that was advertised. We also think about the brokers, and we ensure that the brokerage will always get his commission. So the market size, very quickly, the global yearly market size for the real estate transaction is 7 trillion. We don't target the 100%, we'll be happy with the fraction of a percentage. So the competition, because I know someone will tell about the Airbnb and say, okay, they are doing this for the renting. So the first thing is that they don't do the purchases. And the second thing is that we have a different business model. So the Airbnb is a marketplace, while we are not. So eBay has a PayPal to secure the transactions. The AliExpress has Alipay to secure the transactions. So we don't compete with Airbnb. I mean, there are other marketplaces that don't want to deal with the facilitating the transactions. So we give them the tool to compete with Airbnb using our solution. That's basically the business model. I think I managed. Thank you.
In one case is a realtor. I asked the banking colleagues now, is it in the transaction? So the only thing you could save with a technology like this is time. So how much time do you need between the conditions are fulfilled and transfer the money to the account and coming back? So what is the average time you need? I look to the banking colleagues.
Basically, the answer is it depends.
No, 3 days, a week, or?
I mean, there are alternatives. Like, for example, in Germany, you have the Notartreuhandkonto. You can deposit it there.
Okay, so you deposit as a notary, so that is the question, is there's a, and how much is the transaction fee if you go by that?
More questions. Do you need any licenses for setting that up?
At this point, the system is set up that we are using partners, and for depositing money, we are using an e-money institution. So they carry the license, and then they deal with all these things. We just connect.
So you don't run in an AIFM problem or something like that?
No, no, no. Maybe at some stage later we'll decide to get the licenses ourselves and facilitate, to hold the money of the customers on our accounts. But at this point, we are using a partner, license partner.
Which segment are you targeting? Is it private customers or business customers? And if it's private customers, how complicated is it for a private customer to use your service?
Yeah, very good question. So we want to get the private customers through the business customers. So if we take a purchase case, right, actually there are a lot of problems that real estate brokers have. For example, with the deposit, as a colleague told us, there is a notary account, but then you have to get a notary. Imagine you have a deal, a guy coming from Germany to Spain, and the seller actually is from Greece. So they never meet each other. Then you have to make, if you want to use a notary deposit, you have to make a notary the power of authorities, and it's very complicated. So we solve their problems as well. It's just easier to explain on a B2C model. But we want to go to the market, as I told, through them. So we give them the marketplaces, the real estate agencies, a tool to work with their customers. And they are actually interested as well, because if we talk about international real estate transactions, usually an agent is sending a customer to another agent, and then they are not sure about getting the commission. There is a lack of trust there. And if the commission is in the deposit, then it's automatically getting. So all the parties are actually.
And just to clarify, how would it work for me as a private customer to use your service? What would I have to do for that? Is it just like an online account, or how does it work?
Yeah, you would register. If we are talking about the purchase, your broker will send you a link. You will just fill out your data, and he will already pre-make a contract for you. You will read it on your language. You either accept it or not, and then you deposit the money. What we want, it's a long-term perspective, but in the end we want, for example, Booking.com or something, having a button like pay with it, and click, and basically everything is already pre-filled with a landlord or something you just accept.
And what would happen if PayPal would enter that market and be your competitor?
If they would, then we'll see. I'm not sure that they want to do this, because it's quite complicated. It's not just a payment, right? There are 4 parts of the system. One is the programming and the IT and the smart contracts and the other thing. The other is finances. And the other thing is legal, because you have to make a legal template basically for each country. We have partners in each country that are fine-tuning these templates of the agreement per country, because the legislations are different. And then there is as well dispute resolution system. So we have a subsidiary that is just dealing with the dispute resolution. So I'm not sure they want to go there.
Is it, how easy do you think is it to copy this approach if someone has a better market access than you have? Like, why should CBRE not maintain such a network?
For them, I think it's easier to wait until we grow and just fine.
Okay, but is there any IP or something in it where you say?
I think it's more a know-how and just the effort we put. I don't think that any company wants to start it now.
Okay.
How do you? Well, 2 questions. One, what is the cost of the service? And 2, how do you harmonize the different legal structures in that sense? Because I can imagine some between different countries would be pretty contradictory.
Yeah. Good questions. The first question is about the cost structure. So what we are targeting, we want to get a fee from 0.5% to 4%, but from the deposit amount. And deposit amount usually is like 5 or 10% from the deal. So if you compare it with the notaries, that you have to pay when you go to a country, the translators and everything, this cost will be 4%, but from the whole amount. So if you calculate our fee from the full amount, from the full price you pay, it will be 0.something%. So that's the cost. More or less 10 times better. when you use lawyers. And the second question was about
the contradictory legal systems between countries.
For that we are we go for each country separately. So we build templates for each country separately. We start now from Spain. The partners are preparing templates from there. But we have the partners in France, Italy, and basically all the Mediterranean and in Europe. And we'll have to go country by country, just because what you said, the legal systems are different. And that's why I don't think that PayPal wants to go there.
Okay. So, thank you. Thank you for your pitch. And for the jury, we go back in the voting process, please. As you have seen, the pitch deck moved a little bit more into the market category or in the investment category. So since we saw it in the first stage and now as we have seen it now, so there is still movement in the startups, I guess, but it was an interesting pitch.
Pivoting.
Pivoting. Okay, so the next pitch is here from Franka. Franka is a startup from Germany and has been on EXPO and looked on that what we're doing, and that's the first pitch in the network now. Just go ahead.
Yeah, my name is Franka. I'm CEO and co-founder of Vita. We build IoT solutions for more efficient real estate. 20 years ago, I moved into my first flat. Not long ago, I moved again, and I realized nothing has changed. Housing companies are still stuck in the 19th with paper-based processes. Our mission is to become the B2B platform for the housing industry, for more efficient management of buildings, manufacturer independence, and added value through artificial intelligence and big data. The ecosystem of smart building applications is big but fragmented. Often the solutions are proprietary and only designed to solve one single problem, and Meter brings it all together. We start with a sub-metering. It's a remote readout of heat and water consumption. What are the challenges here? First, there's no visibility of whether the meters are accurate and operational. Second, from 2022, tenants throughout Europe must be informed monthly about their heat consumption. And third, operating costs are high because reading services are often still performed manually. This is our solution. We offer real-time remote monitoring of all meters, plausibility checks of meter data, and this results in savings of up to 60% of operating costs. Our product is a manufacturer-independent and multi-protocol gateway. It is linked to a portal for real-time monitoring and automated reports, and it is also integrated into the accounting software of the companies. Next to sub-metering, we also offer solutions for energy efficiency and predictive maintenance. What enables us to bring all these different solutions together? The answer is threefold. First, it's our gateway. It is able to read every single sensor in the entire building. Second, it's a platform. That's the place where the triggering of operation happens, and also where we integrate solutions from third-party providers. And third, it's a dashboard. Here the operating data of the building is displayed. Behind all this stands a strong team of meanwhile 12 people. The management of Meter combines almost 45 years of experience from building up startups, hardware, software, and product development, also in real estate. This is our business model. We take a monthly fee for the use of the application. Average fee per application is 20 euros per month per building. In the future, we will also earn money with reports driven by big data and artificial intelligence. We position ourselves ahead of our competitors. There's no other company on the market that offers at the same time an efficient and manufacturer-independent gateway, which is especially designed for the housing industry, and which offers a B2B platform, employing big data and triggering new business models. Here's a quick overview of our traction. We generate revenue since 2018. We run pilot tests at 3 housing associations, and we just started with our second product, the monitoring of the technical equipment. We have strong partners at our site in the housing industry and also in the energy sector. So thank you very much for your attention. I look forward to your questions now.
Perfect timing. So you have the first clients. How much gateways are installed already?
100. So we have 100 gateways out there. I mean, they have already bought more, but they are not installed yet. But there's 100 buildings are equipped with our gateways in Berlin.
Okay. And the 20 euros is per month per gateway?
No, it's per month per application. So you pay an additional fee for the gateway. That's for the hardware, but you can also pay it as a license model.
What means per application? What is the application?
Application is, for example, the submetering. Yeah, the software as a service.
So there is one for submetering, one for elevator, and one for whatever, or?
Yes.
Huh. Okay.
Per building. Yeah, not per apartment, per building.
Per building, that would be fine if it says 20 per gateway and that's all the services are included, but maybe I have a different understanding. Next question. Over there.
So one gateway is sufficient for the whole building, like for different use cases?
Yes, one gateway is sufficient even for more than one building. It depends on, we call it Liegenschaft in Germany, I just don't know the word in English now. So if there's one Liegenschaft and it's 5 buildings, part of this Liegenschaft, then even one gateway is enough for 5 buildings.
How do you get the data to the gateway? By wire, or do you have any wireless communication as well to the gateway?
The gateway is via common wireless and wired protocols like MBUS and OMS, and also Wi-Fi is installed in our new version of the gateway. Yeah.
What is your experience in the basement? How far you can send data wireless and how you do it?
Yeah, that's a challenge. So in order to also cover the upper parts of the building, you need some kind of nodes or routers.
Remote.
Yeah, in the building, and then the distance range is improved. Yeah. So,
okay. So you have to work with repeaters to come from the last meter down to the
you have to work with repeaters, but what we also do is we're experimenting right now with antennas in order to increase the range of our gateway.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you see the big guys like ISTA or Techem as competitors, or do you want to provide this technology to them, or do you see yourself as an enabler for the housing companies who are trying to get rid of this old metering companies?
Yes. you said it all. we see ourselves as the enabler for housing companies. I mean, there's already in Germany, it's 11 who already offer the service of metering to their tenants, and they are self-billing, offering self-billing services, and it, for them it pays off. And we want to offer this service to even more housing companies. Techem, ISTA, and Co. We don't regard them as competitors, more as a partner, because we don't offer the whole submetering service. We are not a measuring service company. What we do is we cover the middleware, extracting the data. We don't do the device management, and we are not doing the billing. But we extract the data from different devices from different manufacturers, and that's a good thing. Housing companies or service providers who use our service, they are becoming much more flexible in their services.
But the early case of your customers is that they skip the metering services and set it up new.
Yeah, but they
so
did that already 12 years ago.
Already gone.
Yeah, they started to do it already 12 years ago, so they're quite experienced in that, and they're looking for a partner with higher quality of services.
Okay. Further questions? No further questions? So sub-metering is getting an interesting market, and I think this is something where the whole industry is looking for. So, and of course the old players, for them it's getting harder.
Definitely, yes. And they have to do something. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
thank you very much.
Franca, thank you. So the next pitch, I guess, is an online pitch again. It's Miema. So where are they from?
Germany.
From Germany. Okay, and they didn't appear. Oh, that's sad.
That's sad.
So the next one is from Israel, and that we could understand. So.
Hello.
Hello.
Just a sec.
Perfect, Simon, we see you on the screen. Where are you at the moment? That looks like Munich Trade Fair, isn't it?
Yes, I'm in Munich at a fair. Intersolar, about energy management and that stuff.
Okay. Good. So your screen is shared, the time is yours, just start.
Yeah, perfect. So I have 3 minutes, right?
Yes.
I'm presenting to you Nymea, which is a software which integrates different machines. And the use case here is maybe interesting for you. It's a new approach for building management systems. We know that from the market that the problem of BMS systems is that the integration effort, integrating different devices or machines or subsystems is very difficult, and to make a seamless system. Furthermore, if you have a building management system, it's difficult to upgrade, software updates, security and all that. And the solution is, we are a group of experts doing software integration for APIs and devices like smart home, smart building, and these things since 6 years. And we created a platform called Nymea, which is an integration platform for building management systems. How does it look like? Every building management system has a gateway on the edge, like on the local side, which runs a certain kind of software. And if you integrate our software, then it's as easy as an app store. You can integrate new sensors, new devices, new energy management system, and all that, much more easier. And this looks like this is the perspective of the guy who's installing that new system, a little bit like an app store. So you can just drag and drop new devices into the edge gateway, and the building management system expands in functionality. So to make it that simple, of course, there was some investment essential. From the hardware perspective, you can just exchange the hardware. So we are pure software suppliers, and we can choose any kind of hardware available on the market off the shelf. The business model is easy. For every new integration, so for every new functionality you need, you hire us or you hire another company, a system integrator, and they charge for integrating a plugin. We call it plugins. Mostly this is a project-based business, and also for some plugins we have recurring business because it needs to be maintained. So this is our team. We are 10 in sum. Most important guys are from Canonical and other companies, so they are into app and web development, and they know how to abstract these difficulties that we all have. And the latest thing that happened, Stream Unlimited is one of the biggest companies who do these voice assistants and very sophisticated kinds of smart home and business building management solutions. They are partly Google owned, and now they acquired a percentage of ours, and we implemented a very nice partnership. And that's pretty much it. I look forward to your questions.
Yeah, perfect. So questions from the audience. First question from Hans from Holland.
What's the business model? How do you get paid?
The software runs on the edge, like on a gateway, and we just charge for every software endpoint that is on the gateway. So it's pretty much every gateway has our software instance, and then it's a revenue model based on royalties.
Hi, can you tell us a little bit more about the team background?
Sorry, maybe I've chosen not the most quiet part here.
It's okay. It's okay. It's working. So we hear you perfectly as long as you hear us. The question was, can you tell us more about the team background? explain who are you and to whom we can trust.
Yeah, the founders of the company studied embedded systems. So personalities who are very deep inside hardware near software programming, how to make these drivers, right? So how to make a bus or protocol work with a Linux chip or microcontrollers, how to get data out of an old bus system and this kind of stuff. And then the rest of the team, we hired people who are familiar. So one of our guys is the tech lead of the Ubuntu phone. So he's actually somebody who knows how to build smartphones. And these two things together, you see, obviously we are a very tech-driven team. These two things together enable us to make gateways that have a wide range of compatibility.
What gateways do you have already in place? So what is the business case which is running best, and which is pretty clear, and which is just a copied application?
Yeah. With the very first big project that we did, there are more than 5,000 in place, but with the new partnership that we are going to do now, we are working on projects that have more than 100,000 devices, deployments in the market. So we now take care about approximately 5,000 Linux computers, little gateways in the market, but it's growing very fast. So I guess with next year we've reached the 100K mark.
Okay, further questions here from the audience? Okay. So, no, we are fine there. There are no further questions. So perfect. And thank you for the pitch and enjoy your time at Intersolar and EM Power. Okay?
Thank you very much. Thanks for the time.
Bye.
Have fun in London. Bye.
Okay, so I did not understand everything until the end, to be honest. So next startup, Orient indoor navigation going down to Israel. Hello Mickey, do you hear us?
Hello.
Hello.
Perfect.
So you are the guy that I think Swiss Rail is want to visit Israel. Mario?
Empty guy. Yeah, my name is Or.
Or yeah. So you are in contact with the Swiss Rail company already?
With who?
Swiss Rail, SBB. You
Yes.
don't know them? Ah, yes. Okay. So we are trying to coordinate, Mario is from Swiss PropTech, and we try to coordinate excursion, but SBB could not join up our date, so they will go separate in November. So Olaf, that's the next excursion you can manage in Israel. So we have Olaf here, which is from the Energy Network, so Mickey Steiner you might know in Israel on that.
Orient is a portfolio
By the way, is one of our investors.
Oh! Just leave the room here. No. Okay, so thank you. We are ready, and your slides are already on the screen, so please make full screen, and then we can start with the pitch.
Okay, so can you see both the full screen of my presentation as well as myself?
Yes, everything is perfect here.
So my name is Orshin. I'm with Orient Indoor GPS company. Thank you very much for the opportunity to present here today. I want to start with a statement made by President Trump just 2 weeks ago saying he's gonna shut down GPS. Now try to imagine your life without Google Maps or Waze or Uber or Tinder or whatever other location services app you might be using on a daily basis, and you'll probably end up looking like this. We're lost practically today. We do not know how to use maps anymore, not to mention physical maps, and orient ourselves and where we are at any given time. But we're actually facing this challenge always once we go indoors, because in buildings we do not get GPS signals at all. Now, various solutions have been trying to solve this throughout the years. As you can see here in the shopping mall, this kiosk will allow the shoppers to find the stores, but this is something that was not really adopted by the users simply because they want a solution that has more value and it's already embedded into their smartphones. So now imagine when you go into a store and you can actually use GPS indoors, find the product, or in a hospital to find your the patient room, or whatever office it is in a corporate headquarters. And on the other hand, imagine the facility manager's life or the real estate owner being able to understand the traffic inside the building, the utilization of the space, and more. Today, the available technologies are either implementing hardware such as Bluetooth beacons, and that means you'll need to implement hundreds or maybe even thousands of beacons around the building, making it a very costly solution. Or you can rely on existing infrastructure such as Wi-Fi, but then the accuracy level of such solutions drops significantly. I would say around 50 meters, which is irrelevant, not applicable for most of the use cases, because you can find yourself on a different aisle, different room, different hallway, etc. That's where Orient comes into the picture. What we do is we offer a software-only solutions. We do not install any Wi-Fi or beacons in your building. We rely on something that already exists anywhere around us, that is Earth's magnetic field, as well as the sensors in our smartphones that are today sensitive enough to actually determine the exact location based on small differences in the magnetic field that are created within the building. And that's how we achieve 1 meter accuracy in every building around the world. And that's applicable to a wide range of buildings. It could be shopping malls and stores, hotels and airports, corporate offices, universities, hospitals, basically any type of structure that it's hard to navigate in. Now, the use cases are either to offer our users, employees, shoppers, visitors, a way to find their way around, or to be able to monitor both in real time as well as retrospectively what's going on in order to monitor, say, security staff or operations and logistics, or to better understand the utilization of the real estate in that facility. We've raised $4 million so far. We're based out of Tel Aviv. Energy is one of our investors. We see traction already worldwide, and our vision is to be in any building anywhere in the world in the coming years. Thank you very much.
Okay, So, first question from my side. Is it then an SDK software development kit you integrate in other apps, or how do you come to the market?
Correct. So the most popular option so far is to leverage our SDK, and then the indoor positioning is becoming a part of the retailer's app, or the building owner app, or the corporate app. The other option is to use our demo app, and we can white label this one. And in some use cases, there's no user-facing interface whatsoever, except for a start and stop button for the employee, for example, to be tracked. And then our dashboard is what the customer is using.
How do you cope with vertical, different levels? So if you track an employee, for example, where he is and where he's working, the problem is usually if you are downstairs somewhere, you do not have network, and can you save it locally? And then, so having a technician going down in the basement. So first thing, do you know when he is moving up or down? So 10 meters higher, or
5 meters lower? And the second question is, what is when you do not have Wi-Fi or network?
So for the first question, changing floors is something that we cover. Each floor in the building might be similar to the other floor, but it's still different enough for us to distinguish between the floors. It might take more time for us to become accurate, so meaning the person will have to take more steps in order for us to determine the exact location. But for that, we also compensate by simply using the barometer of the phone. So once you go up or down, we understand that you move to a different level. And that helps us to narrow down the time it takes us to pinpoint you in the right floor. In terms of the second question, today, internet connection is required because the matching is done through our cloud. But by the end of the year, we are going to release the offline version. And that means that once you download the app of the building owner, it will already download the map with the magnetic field. So the matching will be done on your device. And that will also help to save on battery consumption as well.
Okay.
Hello. What is the data consumption at the moment if you move in a building with your smartphone in terms of power and also data sending and receiving?
I'm having trouble hearing you, I'm sorry.
So what is the data consumption or data volume consumption when you're moving around in a mall, for example?
Okay, so the data is according to the resolution of the map that you want to provide. There is one-time download of every map once you enter a new facility. A shopping mall, let's say of, let's give it like 100,000 square meters, would probably be like 2 megabytes to download the entire map for the first time. But then afterwards, every time you want to match your position, it's less than a kilobyte per reading. So ongoing, if you navigate for 10 minutes, it would probably be less than 100 kilobytes.
Thank you very much for the presentation. I think it's really, really interesting. So for me, it's highly interesting. It's new. Do you own some patents as well? This is the first question. Second question, what does it cost to use you? Yeah, so the business model and the fees. No. Okay. No, not really. I'm sorry for that one. And the business model. And the last question is, so that means white labeling is possible, and the question behind that is that even the declaration of positions, naming the positions, is then made by you or by the one you white labeling?
So, what was the first question? Let's go back to that.
Patents?
Well, patents, yes. We have a very strong IP. We have some patents already listed. The patents are around the ability to match between the magnetic field to your location. Our biggest competitor is called Indoor Atlas. They have their own patents on the method they match. What they do is basically match the exact location of your phone versus their database, while our patents are around matching the difference between the magnetic field from your previous step to your current position after you took that step to our database. And that's what allows us to reach the accuracy level that we have, while our competitors are much less accurate, thus using the magnetic field with beacons as well. So again, it requires hardware. So the entire IP is around matching the magnetic field. And yes, we do have patents listed. Many of them actually, some of them are preliminary, and some of them have already been submitted.
So next question is, if you run, for example, a shopping center, how much does it cost and for whom and by what, and how is the model for that?
Okay, so the business model is SaaS. So we charge a monthly fee, which is according to the square meters of the facility. A facility could be between
200,000 square meter, for example. 200,000 square meter, how much is it?
So it depends on the scale. 200 square meters could run down to even $1 per year per square meter. Even less than that, 200,000 square meters.
That's 200,000 euros per year. So that's the question.
So that's the without scaling. So the normal price would be probably $1 to $2 per square meter but for a facility of this size, it will run down, with discounts to probably like I would say 50 cents per square meter. So yeah, it will cost $100,000 for such a facility per year.
How many square meters in the portfolio?
Well, couple millions.
A couple of millions, so, okay, he will make a discount, I guess.
We're negotiating today with the retailers that have thousands of stores worldwide. So obviously, as the volume increases, the price goes down. But it will be the same for one facility with a huge amount of square meters.
What are you looking for? When you are pitching here, what are you looking for?
We're actually
Clients,
looking
money,
for
pilots, clients, money, pilots, what are you looking for?
So clients is the right answer. We're currently feeling very comfortable in retail environments, and as we move forward, we see more demand from universities, hospitals, and more other buildings that would like to become smart buildings. And that's a vertical that we're not too strong in yet, and we would like to find more clients of this kind.
Okay, perfect. So, thank you for your pitch. Greetings to Israel, I guess, Tel Aviv. Okay, thank you, bye.
Thank you.
Good. So, Olaf, you have to answer the other questions then in the meantime.
Happy to do so.
How many startups do you have in the race again?
So last time he told us, after the pitch, that in 5 startups they were already invested. So how many this time?
I think not so much.
2, okay.
Okay, so Jan, the next pitch. And space flow, I think we look on the timing and we are ready to start.
Right, can you hear me well? Good. Right, my name is Jan, I'm the founder of SpaceFlow, and I will start with one number. 1.1 million euro. That's the cost of losing single business tenant, which is a pretty big number, right? Therefore, real estate leaders have to fight for satisfying and retaining tenants, which brings change. And the change is represented by putting people in the whole ecosystem, not the building itself. Which brings new challenges for landlords, like building relationship with all people in their properties and stopping generic approach. And it's possible only with the right technology. We have to accept these 2 shifts, from product to access, to service, and from ownership to access. WeWork is the one who presses a lot on this space as a service approach, but still the rest of the landlords are those who have the power, right? Since 2016, we empower, or SpaceFlow empowers landlords with a digital layer to deliver better tenant experience with connecting on-site amenities, local services, and the whole local community in one place, in one platform. Today, we have more building app providers, our competitors, right? But no one has the same global vision as we do. So far, we are thinking about tenant experience only from the angle of one single building, right? Our competitors release one single app for one single building. But think again Uber or any other providers. It's completely nature for us to use these apps wherever you are, right? And not downloading single app for single city, right? And that's how we, in Spaceflow, how we are thinking about tenant experience platform. Any building you step in, you have access to the whole building, all on-site and nearby amenities, and the whole local community with one app. No worries, landlords can still customize the whole platform and the whole experience for each single building. It's branding, connecting with on-site amenities, local community, and any other smart building solutions. With this approach, we have already launched more than 10 million square feet since the first project 2 years ago, and it's across like 50 projects all around Europe and first 2 projects in the US. I am running out of time, so these are some nice numbers. We have like 100% retention of our clients, and we are growing throughout their portfolios. I'm happy to answer any question. Thank you.
Gerald, maybe just without the microphone.
Yeah, sure. So what is your average onboarding rate?
Onboarding rate?
Yeah.
Like cost?
No.
Time?
The percentage of the tenants.
All right. Get it. On average, we have like 60% of population, but as I've shown, like we have like really various type of assets. So in co-living and co-working spaces, it's much higher. Then we launched like office park where, I don't know, 10,000 people work. So it's different, but on average, it's like 60% of population.
How does access work?
Yeah, we want to be like this layer between like landlords and all these tenants, and then we have partners for these IoT and smart building solutions. So for example, one of the partners for access system is Kissy, if you know them. So then we can integrate it.
So you mentioned that there's like, I would say like 2,000 of competitors globally for the application. Take the serious ones only. And the problem is not the application, the problem is delivering the service. So how do you deliver the service?
Yeah, that's a good question actually, and I skipped it. Beside of technology, or what we've learned in like these 50 projects already, that it's not definitely only about technology, right? Technology is the first step and only tool, let's say. Beside of that, we have came with like we call them community managers, community management team. In some cities, we have local community managers, and we support our clients with exactly like setting up these services, finding the right local vendors, onboarding them, and everything to ensure that the project will be successful.
So that's part of your product.
Yeah, but really like it depends, because in London we have like local community manager, but we have launched like couple projects across Europe remotely, and it's up to them then, up to like client side, to like finding the right partners for programming and stuff like that.
What's your experience with this one? Because that's really challenging now.
Yeah, well, we have like really from extreme that clients just like told us, leave us alone, we want to try it on our own because we own like 100 properties, so we need to handle these first 3, and they did it actually, they did it really well. But they did like on-site amenities and services, which is easier probably. And then we, for example, help first months with like onboarding and remotely giving the tips how to find the right one. And we can even onboard like these services.
Let's discuss a few members which are already experienced. So, Andreas.
Yeah, what's your model in terms of distributing and implementing? Will you do yourself? Will you look for partner? And if partner, which type of partner?
We want to work with our clients for the whole portfolios. So usually we do like first market or buildings as a pilot, and then based on this success, we roll the whole portfolio where we have already set up all these processes to onboarding. I think it's one of the advantages that we have, which is connecting with our community manager, doing like onboarding, training, set up content before going live. And I don't know if I'm answering your question.
Will you use partners for rolling it out?
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Yes, we go directly to landlords, usually, who are our clients, but we have also like these partners, even in residential, most actually in residential, who are like property management or asset management companies, and they want to, exactly as I described, they want to learn with this platform how to use it, and then they can like roll out to their clients, right?
So Andreas implemented Office app already. Now we move to the all things corner. So, Gerard.
What is the total number of services that you sold to your tenants, and what is the value of it, and which service do you sell most today?
Service or functionality? Service.
No, like service, because you said that you also sell services which are I don't know, like services for office tenants that you I don't know, like flowers or whatsoever.
Get it. I didn't actually say that we sell them. We are currently implementing a payment system, so then it will be like routing these payments. But we have a lot of like coffees and restaurants integrated or connected with particular building. Then we have a lot of like sport activities and classes and everything. Like.
But what is the total number of I don't know, clicks you have on the service? Or how many times your tenants use those services?
Actually, again, it depends on asset type, I would say. But then we have like really from like some cases where the core of the app, where they like really use like daily menu, they just like search it for daily menus. They use some discounts and exclusive deals from these partners, because these partners, they are on board and they can like on their own communicate.
But you do not deal at the moment. You are not advanced enough to do it.
What?
Do you or do you not?
What? Track clicks?
Track clicks and make deals with partners already.
We don't have a business model based on that yet, on these clicks and partners.
Yeah, but apart from the business model, so are the people using it? So are they clicking on it? Are they actually? Can you see that they are purchasing in?
Yeah, like we don't have these purchases, right? So we don't have like these numbers in Europe.
If there is no money again, but you see what they are looking for. And what are they looking for the most?
Daily menus, they are ordering or getting codes, and then we have like booking systems, right? So they have access to these amenities, like they scan QR codes for hot desking or even like umbrellas for the small equipment. But we don't have like business model based on that yet.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And there you see if you have startups already in advance and they do business, the questions are quite clear.
Sure. That's good, thanks.
Okay, any further question? Here is one. A guest from abroad, from Techstars. So,
hey.
Hello.
The question around startups around 10 million square feet, like I often think early stage, you think about the word focus, right? And so I look at this slide, perfect. You're in Warsaw, New York, LA, space agnostic as well. And so I guess my question with that context in mind is, what are you looking to focus on? Because that generally is what hurts startups early days.
Mm-hmm. We really want to be like this, even like global platform for like any type of asset between like you, landlord, and all these users. And then you can, with partners like KC and any other Envoy visitor system, they can integrate to our platform or we can help them, right? But we want to be this global platform for engaging in a communication throughout the whole building, right? So really we onboard, like for example, projects in LA and New York in like really nice working social clubs, and they just like, it's a tool for them, right? So then they manage it. So we are like really scalable and we can launch building wherever you are.
There was a question earlier around the experience that you're able to create for your occupiers, the demand side of your platform, so to speak. You find a benefit for some of those customers if you have multiple different spaces available in a given city, for example.
Yeah, that's the future. For this, we need scale, right? We need scale to have like more locations, and then as a user, you can just like migrate between co-working and big office building and residential, and just like the environment is switching, so you always are as a local in this community. But of course, for this, we need scale. So far, we need to also deliver added value to just like one single.
But the other answer of scale could be focus. So just to imagine,
So we have 2 startups in the last round, which thinks about sharing space, like the shared DNC models, and one starting in Munich, and the other one is starting in Hong Kong. So, and they're focused on one city and provide the services on one city, because it's easier to onboard partners and all that kind of thing.
We are still two for these real estate for managers and
okay. What last question from my side, and then we make a cut here. So what are you looking for?
We are actually in process of raising money. It looks good, but we are still I don't want to say something in advance, but we have like lead investors, so we are looking for structured co-investors around, and it would be amazing to have these co-investors from the market, and of course for clients, because as I said, like we are scalable, we can launch it like in Germany, in UK, wherever. Clients and investors.
Okay, so thank you. One thing which is important, I just reviewed the results of the voting. Usually we planned to do the selection tomorrow, but the results are so close that we have to do it when we have everything in mind. So I would make a small program change. Before we go in the afternoon or in the evening dinner break, whatever pub session, we select the startups of today, because we have them in mind, and there will be a lot of discussion going on. So that means startups has to leave the room at 6 o'clock, and then jury meeting is here, and then we decide in this 3 session who are the startups that go on EXPO Real, and who are the ones that are selected and which ones are not. Because it's so close, it's even hard to work to see the difference. So that was in the manage and operate session, and having 300 applications, having 10 startups here.
We only have 3 papers.
And then having very small places, I think we need to have time on that to really ensure who we are going to select. And I don't want to have this discussion before everyone is leaving tomorrow. Okay, now we are done with the second pitch session. We will have a break
till 4 p.m.
Till 4 p.m.
Everybody on time, please. 4 p.m. the last session is markets.
So it's less than a half hour, I guess. Yeah. Take a coffee, buy your break, and see you here 5 minutes before 4. Okay.
We're using the conference break for an interview with the most important people in the room.
And Thomas.
Okay, guys, now we're live. We decided today that we actually do an interview, but it doesn't work that much. So we try to do it now live. And I would like to ask Wolfgang. Wolfgang is our host and co-founder of the Real Estate Innovation Network and Build Innovation Forum. When it comes to real estate innovation, Wolfgang is one of the leading voices in the European industry. Wolfgang, this is your third PrePitch event of Rhine. How would you describe your journey the last years?
Yeah, for 3 years we started pretty small, just with the approach to select good startups for EXPO. But during the last 3 years it changed a lot, because the innovation needs of the industry are pretty much more clear defined. There is a clear picture what the companies are looking for, and on that point I think this is much more advanced what we see here today.
Well, looks like Thomas is now direct and live in the show. He understands the format. But the second question I would like to ask you, Wolfgang. You have experience over 20 years with the background of facility and asset management. Why is innovation so important for the real estate industry?
I think what we saw was not that interesting in the past, but now the first game changers come in the race. We will see the IPO of WeWork, one of the changers in the industry as well, and they will really revolutionize how we use office space, and that will have an impact on the whole industry. That does not mean the co-working business model by itself, but the way how we use office space and how we utilize space. And on the other hand, you will see in retail how Alibaba and Amazon is transforming shopping malls and all that area that has a direct impact to retail asset classes. And by that following, the third area is, for example, this last mile logistic, and this will transform as well. So we will have it in retail, we have the dark kitchen, last mile business and everything, and I think this will come to the industry pretty quick.
Cool. So Wolfgang, what do you think, what are the mega trends this year you have seen so far on the startup contest?
If we look in the past, we have seen a lot of things going on transaction. So how to cut out the realtor and all this kind of thing. Now we are much more into deeper integration of business models, technology getting more advanced, and I think what we have seen today here was a lot of things in the manage and operate section, which comes to building technologies, building management system, IoT, and of course what we see on the other hand going into the construction industry is robotics and all that, what comes with that.
So what are your learnings from the last 3 years for real estate innovation, and how you can translate this innovation into real life in the real estate industry?
3 years ago, the industry was just window shopping. They walked outside the shopping street and looked into an innovation window. And now everyone is directly into the shop and is looking for specific technology for specific use cases. So we are pretty much advanced at that point, and much more on the application and of technology. So when we see the forum here and the jury asking questions, so there is a clear picture what they expect from a business case and how they are running, and we are much better in identifying the status of a startup.
Because we have seen kind of many comparables before.
We have seen all the comparables, and on the other hand, of course, we have experience already what is working and what is not, and what are where are we struggling by taking this technology.
Wolfgang, I would like to go ahead and take some questions from the chat. Frank from Berlin wants to know what do you think about token and blockchain for the real estate industry? will they change the industry? We have saw today something working with blockchain. What do you think about this?
Of course it will change the industry, but not in the short-term perspective. So everyone looked for first pilots on blockchain and tried to do the first MVPs. But if you look closer to it, it's still a long way to go. Of course, in a few years, I guess, we will have a complete tokenization of assets and fund management will be on blockchain and things like that.
I partially agree, but as we see it currently, blockchain perhaps does not have this disruptive impact as many have expected. So it will be a gradual shift towards new technologies in this field. Not only blockchain, just call it distributed ledger technologies. And if they make sense, they will be implemented. If they are too expensive, too complex, then it will perhaps be still run the old way or the traditional way.
Yeah, we see an increasing amount of private blockchains. So the initial startups were working with the public blockchains like Ethereum or Bitcoin, but now we see the corporates developing their own solution, working together with big corporate technology companies like Microsoft, like Facebook. They are also in this field. So I think the blockchain sphere is evolving, but at the end it will be the corporates driving the innovation in the real estate sector.
And it will be just another technology, so, you know, because people have been kind of overestimated the impact of it, in my view.
Do we sell tokens in 10 or 15 years to each other? If you say, Wolfgang, I need some money, you want to have token for 100,000 euro from this apartment or from this house?
One thing, and I want to step in that first. Even the crypto trader recognized that to legalize money, a KYC process really helps. And the legal framework has changed a lot. So it does not really help, or it helps you if you are a crypto millionaire to get in jail. And for the financial industry, it's a huge risk. So if we set it up properly, starting with the KYC process, starting with the trading structure, I think, of course, we will do it in 20 years or 10 years, but not now.
Not now. Thomas, you're the head of innovation at CBRE, and you have decades of experience in the real estate industry. I want to start out by talking about innovation at CBRE. How does technology impact the everyday business in CBRE or at CBRE?
Well, of course, there's a big impact of it, and it's a growing one. So we are trying to be ahead of the curve of new technologies. But first of all, you have to recognize that it's not a question of technology. Availability of technology is more the education and the mindset of the people within the company to really apply new technologies. Yeah. And as long as the benefit, as the user experience, as the outcome for the employees, and even more important for the clients, are not really radically improved by implementing new technologies. So what's the purpose?
Well, what is unique about the Real Estate Innovation Network, Thomas? What do you think? You're one of the founding members, me too?
Well, I mean, I'm sitting here in between the two masterminds of it, so I have to be careful.
Say something nice.
So I think that the great idea that Wolfgang and later on Jonas have developed is really to bring together not what others have done before, the PropTech side of it, so the startup side of the PropTech movement, but really the demand side, so the big incumbent real estate companies, and help them to overcome that old kind of, this is my yard, this is your yard, this is you're my competitor thing, you know, just to be a bit more open. I mean, still a way to go, yeah.
Especially in the banking industry.
Especially in the banking industry.
But anyway, it's worth to try, and I think really to create a kind of touch point for the PropTech communities to come to the more to the incumbents. I think that's the greatest achievement.
So Thomas, coming back to investment, 5 years from now, what will real estate investment look like?
It will be much more automated. It will be much more data-based, so fact-based. but it will still involve a huge amount of human interaction. And the human interaction will become more and more the differentiator, because the technology will be available to everyone, the data will be available to everyone. The question would be who is the smartest in using the technology, but even this is something you can learn, but what you can really not learn at universities is empathy, is kind of deal making, negotiating, mediating different interests. So I think the role of the human being will perhaps become even more important.
Do you think it's still needed at the end? If a deal is good, why do you need empathy for it?
Yeah, because, I mean, you're in the business for quite a long time as well. I'm not talking here about, the standardized condo sales. This is something that perhaps might be, for an average size, average price condo that might be automated, but there will still be humans involved, and even in this field, how big of a decision for a family it is to buy a home. So there's always a human element involved, and the more complex the deals will be, the more parties involved. Diplomacy will kind of play a role. Mediation will play a role. So I don't personally believe in a complete substitution. And even if it could be done all automatically, then what's the differentiator? So then people will think of how you can make it a better experience. Bringing flowers to the cellar, whatever. It's
whatever, but it could be being the better technology. So the question is, if you say, is technology and market know-how the differentiator? In the future. That would be my position. And you said the people or the humans at the end still are an important role.
No, because I think that if the technology is available, then it will later on become affordable, and when it's affordable, that everyone will kind of be at arm's length, in terms of technology.
Maybe a commodity, okay?
So then you have to look for the next differentiator, be it design, be it experience, be it whatever. Yeah. Perhaps we will come through a period now where technology is taking over more and more, but then people will look for the next differentiator.
Could be, yeah. Okay.
So next question actually for three of you. How has your view changed towards the startups in real estate during the last years? Jonas, maybe you start with that.
Well, I was pretty enthusiastic back in 2015, 2014, and I thought that really it could change the world, to be honest. And we see that basically the corporates are taking over. We see that especially in the B2B industry, you need the corporates, otherwise you can have the best team, the best technology, the best product, but you need the market adoption. So I think in the B2C industry we see an increasing amount of funding, and especially in the European venture capital scene, the venture capitalists are getting more active, so I think that sector is evolving. But in the B2B industry, like we are here, essentially the corporates are driving this, and I know Wolfgang's view on this, and I think that startups, currently there's a flood of startups that we're always saying, so the B2B industry basically they're overwhelmed with all the startups, and it's hard to find the USP of each product at the end of the day. That's my view, so I'm basically kind of not really disappointed, but I think like the wave is kind of slowing down.
Well, it's not only that there's more startups here, but there's also a tremendous amount of money out there in the market looking for investment in PropTech. And the question would be if it's always really worth the money, or if this inflation of interest kind of brings crazy valuations, and then people will spend money and perhaps not ever wisely. So.
Yeah, maybe that is there are too much startups in the market because there is too much money in the market. There is not that demand of the industry side, so there is too much money in the investor side pushing money into the startups. The demand on the industry is much lower.
It's much lower, and especially the costs for starting a startup, because there are also very early stage startups, and the cost of starting a startup is like decreasing, because you can start a startup with like 2 laptops, you have a web server, and you can go. It's different like 10 years ago, because 10 years ago
they raise the first run, and then have the 500,000 euro, and then they exist for 1.5 years, and then they're gone.
But there's also the tendency now that we see fewer deals in terms of financing, and we see fewer new startups, but we see more money going into fewer deals. So it's basically that the amount of money invested is still increasing, and the number of startups is not increasing, so it's not decreasing either. So we perhaps will see some of them dying, but in general, that's for me an indication of a more mature market.
So you guys think the real estate industry is still behind the other industries regarding to innovation and technology? Maybe you start.
Definitely. So we're probably 10 years behind the banking industry, 20 years behind the insurance industry. I think you have to differentiate probably commercial industry. I think we're far behind let's say in the residential area. It might be different because we have like ImmoScout and all the portals, the global portals, so that might be different. The rest is lagging behind. So we start always in each workshop with the corporates, we start with standards, basically with the basic homework but it's literally digitalization. It's just getting the data structure, the data models before we can even start to...
But that has nothing to do with the startups and innovation. That is the homework the industry didn't do. So, you know, if you go in the car and you take a screw M10, everyone knows what we are talking about. Do we have something in the industry, in the real estate industry, where everyone knows what we're talking about? We do not even know when we talk about a square meter what we are talking about.
And what you're touching on is the fact that, you know, the value creation in real estate is basically very granular. It starts from planning to building to selling to operating to reconstructing it. So and there's a big number of companies involved, and they are all very small in size. So it's a very fragmented market if you look at it from A to Z, and therefore it's really hard to be digitalized, and it's also a big demand for standards and for kind of data availability to make it more smooth.
Well, I think the same, but on the other hand, you're talking about an industry what is 5,000 years old. And I think the car industry also needed 20 years to change a little bit. I don't know if they're still thinking about making petrol cars or something. I think only one player was changing the game. So maybe there's hope for the real estate industry.
Yes,
what do you think?
There is, because there's the drive, the change has been driven from the outside. So we have suddenly the WeWork coming up, the Airbnb, you have the Cartera and the construction industry. So the change will come from outside, and the real estate industry has to adapt at the end of the day.
There is so much money in the industry. At the moment there is no need to change and no need to innovate, but there is still enough money. So it would be not a problem for the large players to change their direction and catch up. And of course we will have a strong consolidation of all the other players.
I mean, in terms of money, there might be a lot of money, but there is very few profit margins compared to other businesses. So, I mean, the real estate industry is not a high-tech industry, so it's not an industry with a lot of R&D budgets. In fact, there is basically no research and development, and we see that innovation is driven. My innovation is currently driven, if you look for innovation inside the industry, by the project developers. The project developers are apparently the guys with the biggest margins in the business. So I mean, you know, it's also you have to look at, you know, how much money the industry makes and how much it can reinvest into innovation.
And if innovation is a differentiator, so if you look on the project development, everyone talking about cube and edge, and that is something where you get extra money for, I guess. And if you just do a regular innovation development with nothing on IoT workplace and special architecture, maybe you couldn't sell it on the end. So it's an upselling potential for a more innovative building.
I would like to close this round with a final question to everybody of you. Speaking about trends, there are probably a lot of people out there who are looking for new information about real estate. Is there any trend we should look closer you have seen this year?
So not this year, and it's not just one trend, but I see things like location analytics trending, I see tenant experience trending, and I see everything around IoT, sensors, smart buildings trending. So these are like three aspects I would
agree on the three mainstreams. I think the geospatial intelligence is something will catch up within the next 24 months. Tenant experience, I'm not sure, because as an owner, tenant experience could be much more driven by tenant organization. So I think because it's a community building within the tenant organization.
But I would still see that corporate real estate is part of real estate. So then, yeah.
Okay, yeah. And the third thing is we have to develop IoT standards.
Yeah, I agree, and I would add robotics. So we see an increasing amount of hardware startups, especially in the construction industry and facility management as well. So I think robotics, because the prices are coming down, the industry is evolving, and it will soon become a commodity at the end of the day.
We will have a workforce problem. So robotic is not driven by how much more efficient a roboter is.
You're right.
You do not have the people.
Yes, that's the point.
So if the roboter is the only one who is going to work
in the future. Right. Thank you very much, guys, that you did this spontaneous pedal, or how do you call it? And looking forward to change insights and views with you anytime. So I would like to say bye-bye for the followers, and we see us in 2 weeks at CIMA Pro in
Spain,
in Madrid. Have a nice one. Thank you.
Thank you for having us. Bye.
Thank you.